You're listening to Metal Verbalizers, and I am Johan. Today I will verbalize the band Electrikeel. Electrikeel is a thrash metal band from Pamplona, Spain. The band is going for a very aggressive, fast and dark sounding thrash, with a lot of like shredding guitars, kind of fast drumming, the sort of like powerful bass, as well as a lot of ripping vocals. Electrikeel is very influenced by new wave thrash bands, including Toxic Holocaust, Municipal Waste, Ghoul, Biocancer, Vector, etc. However, they have also said to be very inspired by a lot of the classic thrash metal bands as well as the more new wave kind of bands. And some of the bands that Electrikeel has mentioned is Slayer, Morbid Saint, Creator, etc. I think bands like Slayer and Creator is very common for these kind of thrash metal bands to mention as kind of influences. However, Electrikeel also specifically mentioned Morbid Saint to me, which I thought was kind of interesting because you don't hear Morbid Saint as a influence like that very often, which I think it's great to hear them as an influence like this, because Morbid Saint is a band that I'm a big fan of myself, and albums like their cult classic Spectrum of Death is I'm a very big fan of that album. However, Electrikeel, I believe, was founded in 2019, and since then the band hasn't released that many albums or so yet. However, they did release an EP in 2019, which was titled To Protect and Sever. The name is obviously a play on the term to protect and serve, that they kind of change up a little bit and as kind of a pun call it To Protect and Sever, which I guess would make it kind of natural to make a quick little comment and talk a little bit about the album cover. The cover is really cool in my opinion, and it has a lot of interesting colors with a kind of mix with a lot of purple, green and yellow. And just overall, like the colors of the album, the mutants or ghouls or whatever you want to refer to them as, the city in ruin, etc. Just all of that together makes it look very, like, you know, toxic and very thrash looking. And I really like the two mutants dressed in torn police uniforms. And one being armed with a machete and the other armed with like a chainsaw. And that's kind of back to the album name, To Protect and Sever. The mutants being in police uniforms as well as being armed with blade type weapons, which is obviously once again kind of a reference to the name being like To Protect and Sever. Which is something that I gonna really compliment Electrikeel about here, because that's something that I'm a big fan of when kind of like there's a very interesting like thought regarding the album cover, and as well that the album cover and the album name has a very direct connection and very like clear links to each other, which I personally feel is really, really cool when bands do that. And I think Electrikeel really nailed it here regarding that. And something that I also kind of noticed, which is kind of cool, is that there's quite a few interesting details here. And one being the severed hand hanging from the handcuffs attached to one of the mutants' belts. It took me a while to notice that, but once I did, I immediately thought there was a very clever reference to the album name. So once again, there's kind of one of these things in the album cover that links very, very clearly to the name of the album. And to make a little comment regarding the music on the album, the album has songs such as a song titled Holiday in Cambodia, which I am personally a very big fan of. I think that's a great song. It has overall a very Teutonic sound to it, I believe, with something that I kind of noticed as well, is that it has a very classic Teutonic sound, like bands such as Sodom and Tankard, but it also kind of has a very modern touch to it. So it definitely is very interesting, and overall I think that the chorus to that song is very, very catchy, so it's very easily to kind of get that stuck in your head and kind of sing that chorus over and over in your head. So I think that Holiday in Cambodia is definitely a song that really like stuck out to me, and that I became quickly quite a big fan of. So if you haven't heard Electrikeel or that song, I would absolutely encourage you to check it out, because I think personally it's great. However, after they released this EP in 2019, they also released a single in 2021, which was titled King Slayer, which is also a great song. However, something also really interesting, in my opinion, is that I was in contact with Electrikeel before recording this episode, and they actually told me a little bit about their plans for the future. And one of the things that they told me was that they are currently recording their debut full-length album, which will be titled Straight Outta Depths. They told me that it will have 11 songs and a cover. They did not, however, tell me any of the song names nor what that cover is. They told me that they have recorded the demos for that album, but that they're still making decisions regarding the final recording of the album. And obviously they also have to actually record the final recording. And the album will, according to Electrikeel, have kind of a mix of different things. Some songs will be more prog-like thrash, and other songs will be a little shorter, punk-like thrash. They seem to try to really go for a very crossover thrash with black and punk elements to it. But also they're trying to implement a lot of melodic into their thrash sound. Which, as far as I understand, is an attempt from their side to present a little bit of variety in their sound and to the album as a whole. So I don't know, they didn't tell me when this album will be released or when it will be officially done. However, I guess we're just gonna have to keep our eyes open for it, and I would absolutely encourage you to keep your eyes open for that, and definitely go and check out Electrikeel. And with that, I believe it's time to kind of wrap things up. I appreciate you listening, and if you like this episode, make sure to follow Metal Verbalizers, and we will give you more tips like this. If this episode results in you checking this band out, please tag us and let them know that we send you to them. We would appreciate it a lot. And we will be back to you soon with another verbalization.